Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending peace and the prayers upon His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Shaykh is welcoming all of us, all of you, to this new episode of your program, uh, Fatwa Night, live from Mishkah Center in Houston, Texas, United States. Today is the 13th of Ramadan, 13th of March. First question came from Indiana. Somebody's asking. We live in Indiana. We have a masjid. Originally, it was like a church. The community has, grown a lot. Now we have like the masjid and like a school. But we would like to move to a bigger place and build like a masjid and school in that place. Can we sell this current masjid to some of the Muslims brothers here or Muslim brothers? Especially it's like waqf, endowment. Sheikh says, well, waqf or endowments is to hold this place or that land or that building, for example, to a certain manfa'ah, benefit for Muslims, for example. It should not sold, it should not actually gifted, and it should not be inherited. Nafi' ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma said Umar had like a land in Khaybar. He came to the Prophet ﷺ, asked him the advice. So the Prophet ﷺ told him, what would you advise me to do, O Prophet of Allah? So the Prophet ﷺ told him, if you wish, you could actually hold this one or put this one or make this one to be endowments or endowment and sadaqah for people. Then Umar did that. So he gave it like sadaqah for all the poor people at that time and relatives and in the sake of Allah and so on. So now let's go to the conclusion. So it cannot be sold unless there is a better or a bigger benefit for the Muslim community or for the place. Amjad has published an article about that. I said again that the default is it should not be sold except there is another benefit or a certain benefit for the community. For example, in your case, if the masjid now is not large enough to fit all the people coming to pray, and then you decided to buy a bigger land. The good news in this time that the one who's looking forward to buying this land or that place is a Muslim. It's not like a gambling place or anything. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the right decision or help you make the right decision. Somebody is asking about the zakat of fitr. So we don't know exactly how much or like they paid that to the masjid. The Sheikh says, well, the masjid in this case is actually representative of the Muslim community here, for example. So he knows exactly whom deserve that zakat al-fitr. And he knows exactly how much each Muslim or each person have paid. So it is enough for that masjid to receive this kind of money and then direct that money to those who deserve it. And that's good enough and sufficient for that. He doesn't have to take the money from each person and write, for example, this money is from Mr. X and then put it in a side. No, just collect the money in just one container and then spend it on the people who deserve that. So look at the fuqaha or the scholars. They classified the recipients, right, or the categories of people who would receive that zakatul fitr, nothing else. What is the niyyah? What is the intention of the night prayer or qiyamul layl? So can I count like the sunnah before Maghrib and Isha to be among this qiyamul layl? So he wanna conserve. This is like salat conservation. In general, like the qiyamul layl, uh, you know, the scholars said like the qiyamul layl start after the Isha prayer. There is nothing wrong to get like this niyyah or to have the niyyah of qiyam starting the sunnah, after the Isha. Some of the scholars also said the night prayers or the qiyamul layl start just right after Maghrib because they already defined the night time start from Maghrib, just like right after the sunset. And most of the Hanbali madhab they accept or they like that opinion. And this is why they said that. They said the time of night or the time of Qiyamul Layl start after sunset. So the time of that Qiyamul Layl is from again the sunset to just few seconds, few minutes before the dawn time. Ahmad ibn Hanbal said that. And he said it's a sunnah, it's like it's okay to start the Qiyamul Layl. Just like with start was like two light rak'ahs, right? Two by two, two by two, and so on. And then it's a time from again the sunset till just before the Fajr time. It was narrated that the Prophet ﷺ, especially the hadith of Aisha, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, she said the Prophet ﷺ used to pray, uh, you know, when he finished, like Aisha prayer, it's between like like the sunset, like when it's like dark time till just before the dawn or the Fajr. 11 rak'ahs. Just two rak'ahs, two rak'ahs, two rak'ahs, and then he ends up with like one or ended up with like one rak'ah. It's called the witr. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I work as an engineer, like mainly in the artificial intelligence. I received an offer from a company in like public transportation, like taxis, like buses, like limousines or limo or something in an Arab country. So we just want to develop the network of this, transportation or the public transportation in that country. Add into that maybe like the school buses, the factories, or the companies, or so on. It's just like programming using the artificial intelligence, like language, then analyzing the data and stuff like that. Sometimes like these countries they would host like like events like sports events like 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 singers from all over the world and so on. Some of that's haram, or some of that could actually have like some activities like drinking wine or so. So Sheikh says, well, us the default in that is mashru' is halal, but it might have like little bit of like some impurities in it, like little bit of haram in it. But your job is mainly is gonna be in the positive halal thing. So I would advise you to just stick with the job, and maybe you can purify your money, your income by paying, for example, or giving uh, sadaqah to people, for example, a percentage of what you make. As much as you can do that, please do it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. A brother has ijaza, and then he recites Quran, but he got like some drops of urine after he finish. After he actually used the restroom or so, and then he put some like napkins, or you know, and then he would actually put this napkins or that pad, whatever, and then make wudu. Should, or if this person lead the prayer as an imam, is it sahih? Is his salah sahih? Sheikh says, well, there are some opinions about that in between the scholars, but the most of them, or the majority of them, that the salah or the lead of that prayer, or of that person to the prayer, is sahih, because the Prophet ﷺ said the one who lead the prayer should be the one who more or better reciting the book of Allah. And so this man, his salah is sahiha because he did what he has to do. Next question, Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum. I met with you in California a few weeks ago. My question was about cryptocurrency. Selling it, buying it, just like stock, halal or haram. My second question, uh, is zakah wajib after 2 years? What is the meaning of the hawl in Arabic? Well, Sheikh says, well, this cryptocurrency is just like, like electronic, like currency, or like a box, or like a container of like a value money, or a money, using like this technical facility to give people the opportunity to pay and buy and sell without having like a bank account, for example. So Amja has published this issue here about, or that article about that. It's closer to mubah than to be prevented, as long as we stick with like the shari like rules. So you have to be serious. You have to have this honesty, trustworthy when you do something like that. So this currency should actually be with a real project. Is not like something that you are just doing mudaraba. Similarity, and then you got this hand in hand, like giving and receiving, especially when the type of that commodity is different. You have to be also clear about how you issue that, the way of issuing this one, the way of investing that, and all that should be actually according to Sharia. So what about the zakah for that? Sheikh says, well, it's among your money. It's a part of your assets. So you have to pay zakat for that. So as long as this currency is accepted or is used between the public, um, so whoever use this one should actually treat it just like the regular currency or the regular money. So you have to pay zakat of that, and you also have to check if this one could have riba or not. So again, that might be actually checked out or investigated before you do that. You know, Al Imam Malik said anything that people would accept as money, so it's gonna be like money, and then you have to investigate the riba within that, whatever the people actually so did. And they said, well, at this time, the money, for example, even you look at the money we use, a dollar, a pound, or whatever, it's gonna take the same hukm of gold and silver. He even said if people even accept like this leather, you know, you get like jacket from leather or something. If they accept this, like leather or the skin of the animal as like a currency or a way of treated to be like a currency, they have to actually do this one and has to be treated just like gold and silver. So you add all of that to the money or the assets you would have, and then you calculate that nisab whenever it's just like a year, and then you pay your zakat based on that. Again, al-hawl is whatever like the lunar year. And the sheikh says, well, the value of it is just like 85 grams of gold. The gold, like the pure gold, like I think like 24 carats or something. And again, the zakah is just like 2.5%. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I have some people who pay sadaqah in the last 10 days of Ramadan, especially because they are expecting or predicting the day of Laylatul Qadr, or expecting the day of Laylatul Qadr within this last 10 days of Ramadan. So should you divide this money of zakat on the 10 days, or this is only for sadaqah? So, so it's better for me. It's better for you to pay zakat in one time. So that actually has to be done as much as you turn that 1 year. Again, I'm talking about the lunar year. That's actually, if that specially touch the benefit of the faqir or the needy people. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. During the wudu, so you put like cover the 2 feet. So if somebody, for example, touch his private part, should he restart or start over his wudu, or just to continue? Sheikh says, well, there is nothing wrong with that because you didn't actually intentionally did it. You didn't intentionally do that. Like the wiping over the socks, Sheikh says, well, yes, if you have wudu and then you wear the socks on wudu, and then you did something at home, and then for example you got some gas or something, and then you went to the masjid, can you make wudu and wipe on your socks? Sheikh says yes, as long as you left home as you wear the socks over like after wudu. A lady asked how to recite in the salat, not like it's not like the secret salah, like not secret, like the salah of dhuhr, for example, or asr, you know like for example, who would actually raise his voice during this salawat? Jahlan means like out of ignorance. Well, as long as you don't know, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive you for that. But since now you know, try to avoid doing that. A question about like financial support in France is like 600 euros a month. I am a French, I live in Egypt now. And then I didn't tell the authority in France about this one. I still receive this kind of like support. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You should not actually violate all the bylaws and the rules and the policies that, like the country that you mentioned has decided to give this money based on. You say like France is like fighting Islam and Muslims, and that's a different story. Okay? And we have to look at this one in a different situation or a different context. So again, that's a different actual story. It's totally different than your question. For example, if you do not deserve that money, right, just like avoid taking this money. Because in that situation, they're gonna say, for example, like Muslims, they would take the money of this country to be halal for them. Yeah, there might be injustice, there might be like a different treatment, there might be some problems with that, but we are actually working with ourselves. We try to stick with our Islam, we try to do the halal of our Islam. Like for example, let's give an example. You live in a country and then they charge you like taxes. Well, everybody would say, well, the ra'ib or taxes are not like according to Islam. Islam doesn't have dara'ib or taxes. It has only zakat. But well, if you live in that country, you have to stick with the rules and the policies and bylaws that they are issuing to manage the living in this country. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help our brothers and sisters in everywhere and support them, especially those who are in need of His support in East and West, and offer them and provide them and supply them with all the good and the victory over their enemies. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us, forgive our parents and their parents and those who have rights over us. Ameen, ameen. May Allah accept from all of us. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.